This is a summary of the sixth phase of Thomas Hardy's Tess of the D'Urbervilles. At the start of the sixth phase, we see both Tess and Alec have been made uncomfortable by their encounter at the end of the fifth phase. Both had believed that the other had been removed from their lives, and this apparently chance meeting served to reinforce the idea that Tess's life was fated, that it was structured before she was even born, and she was destined to meet her tormentor for a second time. Alec, apparently changed, blames Tess for the way she had previously tempted him, and he suggests that what happened between them was Tess's fault. If she hadn't been so attractive, he wouldn't have done what he did. And he implores her, somewhat unbelievably, not to tempt him again. They strike a bargain at an old stone called Cross in Hand, and this is later revealed to be an ill omen when we discover that the location was a place where a man had previously made a deal with the devil. There is a symmetry here between Tess making a deal with Alec and this man from folklore and superstition who made a deal with the devil. Alec naturally cannot stick to the terms of the bargain that he has struck, and he returns to see Tess at Flintcomb Ash, and he asks her to marry him. She tells him that she is already married. And then after a very harsh winter, Alec returns to Tess again, and this time he has given up his Christian faith and he wants her to marry him. He appears in this section of the novel at the threshing of the, I'm not sure which grain it is, but it's during the threshing on the farm. And when he appears, he's surrounded by flames of the threshing machine and the smoke, and he's carrying a pitchfork and he has his curled moustache. Hardy is obviously trying to paint him as the devil, and it's not very subtle the way that he does. He again asks Tess to marry him, and in doing so, he also insults Angel, saying that he's not a very responsible husband if he's not around, and if he is allowing Tess to live in such terrible circumstances. And Tess responds by slapping him and drawing blood. Again, we have the symbolism of the blood, the red, the sin, and so on. Tess then discovers that both of her parents have become ill, and with nobody to look after the children, she has to leave Flintcomb Ash to nurse her parents. While her mother recovers, her father dies, and when he dies, the family's claim on the house goes with him, so they are evicted from their house. With no sign of Angel returning, Alec offers Tess one of the houses from his family's estate, but out of pride and out of fear, Tess refuses. She writes to Angel and finally comes to terms with his cruelty towards her, and this is the first point where she acknowledges openly that Angel has wronged her. Tess and her family plan to rent rooms in the town of Kingsbere, which you will remember from the earlier chapters. For example, Tess's father, when he comes home drunk in the very opening section, says that he has noble skeletons in a vault at Kingsbere. However, when they arrive at Kingsbere, the rooms which they intended to move into had been let to another family, and with nowhere else to go, they take shelter in the local churchyard. Where the family come together, there's actually a stained glass window with imagery of the d'Urberville family from history. Tess wanders into the church, and while looking up and down the aisles, she bumps into Alec again. She looks into her family's vault where all of the tombs of the d'Urbervilles are, and her heritage seems to be mocking her, that she is alive and in complete poverty while they are dead and in absolute grandeur. And she asks herself out loud in this scene, why am I on the wrong side of this door? Meanwhile, in Brazil, we learn that Angel has become seriously ill. His farm has failed and he is travelling home to England. On his way home, he finds a stranger and he tells the stranger of what has happened to him and Tess. And the stranger says that he was wrong to judge his wife as he did, and that what she had done should have been less important to him than what she would become. And Angel now shows regret at his treatment of Tess. For me, this is one of the weaker sections of the novel because it seems very convenient. Angel hadn't been persuaded by Tess, he hadn't been persuaded by Is Hewitt, and yet, at a time when the novel needed Angel to come back into the centre again, he's somehow persuaded by some random punter he bumped into in the street in Brazil. It seems a little too coincidental for me, but bearing in mind that Hardy was writing very much to deadline, I suspect that this was just a matter of him trying to tie up loose ends as quickly and as neatly as possible.